Austria is your biggest market. Where would you fall in line of all the Austrian beers as number 1, number 2, number 3? Just out of curiosity.
Well, we have a situation in Austria that's quite unique. We have a market partner. They control 55% of our beer market. It's a company which we all know. It's Heineken.
Okay.
So they have a share with altogether 14 or 15 brands. And then we fall in with a market share of about 13%. Mm-hmm. Biggest family-owned brewery, but we don't have 14 brands. We have Steigl. So that's our bread and butter. That's our destiny, and we have the Gold Boy, pills, and so.
Yeah.
I mean, we have different types of beers.
I'm drinking a Gold Boy now.
Yeah, me too.
It's fantastic.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm drinking the pills.
So we're
myself.
getting 3 in the United States:
Yes.
the Steigl Gold Brown Lager, the Radler, which has been
Pills
a fabulous
and the
hit
pills.
here, and the pills. So, do you make any other beers that you don't market in the U.S. and why are you holding them back?
Well, we hold them back because we
Hold them back. Don't hold them
No,
back.
actually, I mean,
Please send them to us. We love your beer.
no, we kind of have. I always like the idea, which is the theory behind it. We have 3 breweries under one roof. So the owner once decided about 25 years ago to have the Goldbräu, the Märzen, to be in our core market in Austria, available everywhere.
Right.
And then we are building an assortment of beers like pills, the Paracelsus, which is available, could be made available through our
We don't
importers.
have that
and so
one
on.
here. Although my Danny here, she's what we call the novice. She's the person who's new to beer.
Okay.
She's drinking the pills tonight. I'm drinking the gold. Danny, what do you think of the pills?
Oh, I really enjoy it. It's a very refreshing beer.
Yeah.
It's very easy. It's just fun to drink.
Yeah.
I really.
It's a real. I would say it's a real pills.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's
I love
lots of
Pilsners.
pills out there, but the bitter units, we are not as high as, but we are in the high 20s, low 30s with
Yeah.
the bitter units.
Perfect.
Units, and we think that is still is a pills. And it's a dry beer. I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of
it
it,
is.
it's
It
dry.
is.
And the Goldbräu is, of course, I wouldn't say a sweeter one, but it's a little bit more full-bodied.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Almost like a German Helles.
I would
quite.
even go that far to say it's a mixture between a Bavarian-style Helles and the Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely get that.
That's my kind of feeling about the taste of our Goldbräu.
Yeah.
By the way, the first place I've ever had a Steigl was here at the Cork and Stogie. So
Good.
it's the first place I've enjoyed it. So
Very good.
And ever since then.
So when this first came into our market here in Key West, I freaked out because I hadn't seen it since that one time I was in Vienna, and I was like, "Oh my God, Dave, we got to carry this beer. It's really, really good." And Dave was like, "Okay." And if you know Dave, he kind of says "okay," and like shakes his head a little bit. He's like, "Okay."
Good.
And,
Good job, gentlemen.
yeah.
I'll drink to that. To both of you.
And
Cheers.
we sell down here at the Cork and Stogie. Prost.
Prost.
Down here at the Cork and Stogie, we sell actually a tremendous amount of this beer. Mostly because when people are like, "Oh, it's hot, I just need a beer," I'm like, "This is going to help you
This
out.
is the beer you need.
This is the beer you need." And they're
Yes.
like, "All right,
Yeah, I think it's a very honest offer. That
It
beer,
is.
You know,
You know what? That's a very
it's
good way
not
to
it's not an experiment. And as I said, it's 522 years. So with all the mistakes that those brewers,
They perfected it.
it's you mature every year. And I think at the end of the day, you have a product that is pretty good.
pretty
Yeah.
drinkable.
Yeah.
It's more than pretty good. It's excellent.
Thank you
Yes,
very much. I
definitely
couldn't say. I'm
excellent.
glad that you said that.
I'm
man.
happy to say it. And the thing is, there's no BS about this. It's a beer that everybody that's on the show, the 4 people that are sitting here, and we have Dave Jr., who's currently covering behind the bar, but everybody loves Steigl. And if somebody comes in here and we're just hanging around, and somebody walks in, and Danny and I might be sitting at the bar. It might be like a Thursday night, and nobody's here. It's just the two of us. And somebody walks in, and they say, "Oh, what do you have to drink?" And we'll say, the bartender, whomever happens to be there, will say, "Well, I've got a whole bunch of beers." And they'll say, "What are you looking for?" "Well, I want something that's kind of refreshing." First thing we always tell them is a Steigl.
Yeah, get a Steigl.
Yeah, get a Steigl.
Yeah, they're looking for a decent, really good lager or something.
Yeah.
I agree, and from that perspective, I think that whatever happens now in this country, all over the world, with all the microbreweries, the craft beers, and all this beers, I think that's fantastic for our business.
Yeah.
People
Absolutely.
are educated into beers.
Absolutely.
And yes, we have not the offer of a very drastic or fancy beer, which I think is very important. But at the end of the day, our portion of offer is solid, and it's honest, and it's good, and it's as drinkable as a beer could be. And then I want people to try beers.
Yes.
There is more than with all due respect, than the regular domestics. There is imports. There's exciting import beers, exciting micros, and as long as we part of that family, and as long as we have people who like our beer and support us, that's the perfect setup.
So a lot of times we'll use the term.
Well said.
We'll use the term "old world" to describe a lot of the import beers, especially from Germany and Austria. The British beers, we refer to them as old world beers because a lot of those breweries have actually been around, like you said, for like 500 years.
They know their
or something.
business, kind of, right?
Yeah.
They learned it from what we call the School of Hard Knocks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing I have to say, I was in Denver last year for the big show, and it's just important that it's not getting out of hand. It was 20 years now, only domestics, or 30 years ago. And then the imports were kicking in. And now those beautiful microbreweries and handcrafted beers, wonderful. But now you go and you have an idiot pale ale and a full idiot pale ale and a wedding chapel pale ale. So it's not, we have to stick this beautiful product to what it's all about.
Yeah,
One of
stay
the-
true.
Not the
and-
names
no,
or
and
whatever.
I
being
fully
fancy,
agree with you.
You have to offer a palette of tastes.
One of the things that I've found is that the microbreweries in the United States, what they necessarily have to do to start off, in other words, to get a return on their investment, is that what they have to do, they don't, and they work within that realm, but what they have to do is they have to put out a beer that they can get a financial return on as quickly as possible.
Well,
They've always gone with ales, and
Well,
there's nothing.
that's-
There's nothing wrong with going
That-
with ales. The biggest thing that I've seen that is a detriment for overall beer knowledge is that I do a lot of research, and I find that somebody says, "Oh, I drank such and such a beer, a lager from Europe, which is a very good lager. It wasn't yours, but I drank it and it tasted like a Budweiser." And the reason for that individual that it tasted like a Budweiser was because he had now had 3 years of just drinking ales, and he goes back to drinking he gets a lager, which is an excellent lager.
Yeah.
And he thinks, oh, it tastes like a Budweiser because he doesn't have his
Yeah, you
palate.
kind of lose
has
your
changed.
palate.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
and that's the thing. You need to keep your palate. There's all kinds of things.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like with the wines, You do not only drink one kind of white
Exactly.
wine. You have a red, you have a rosé. That's fine. And what
Many
I'm saying,
variations.
and I mean, as you extremely right said, if you're a microbrewer, you don't have to feel ashamed for, yes, you need return on investment. So top fermented beers, ales, have a quicker return on.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
And again, that is the big advantage, part of a big advantage for a brewery like us.
Right.
We are around 522 years. So yes, again, not being arrogant, but we can afford to lager the beer.
Yes,
That's why
yeah.
it's a lager.
Well, here's a question for you. Now that you just brought that up, how long do you lager your beer for? In other words, for the people who don't know what lagering a beer is, lager in German is to store. Something where you're going to store something for a certain period of time. And ales don't need that long a period to store, so they don't. And that's how the word lager came about.
Yes.
As far as beer brewing goes, but how
Well,
long?
and I hate to interrupt you,
Please
but
do.
when we talk about lagering a beer, you also have to bring up the name Märzen.
From
Because
March.
it comes from the month of March.
March, yeah.
And it goes back to the days where there was no artificial refrigeration.
And, yeah.
So they had to cut the ice out of the lakes, and the beer was stored in winter. And the longest, and then you had the beer in March. So it was a Märzen. So with artificial cooling systems, of course, I don't know, in the 1800
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
I only know that it was Werner von Linde. That's why you have the Linde refrigerators,
yes.
right?
Of course, yeah.
So, but with that kind of thing, the lagering process was, the breweries were able to do this throughout the year. But to come back to your question, Goldbräu is lager. The lager time of Goldbräu is about 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It sits there and it matures,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
And for example, we brew a Bock beer, which is not available in the U.S.
Where the hell is your Bock beer, Robert? We want your
we
Bock
are in Key
beer.
West here. I hate to say that. I mean, I love to say that. But
Don't forget, you have
need-
to laugh on this show.
No. Well, no Bock beer without snow. I hate to say that.
yeah.
You know?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean-
make some
You're right.
artificial snow, and you
You're
get
right.
the Bock beer,
and we
right?
get it. All right.
No,
Well, at least we know what we got to do.
But the Bock sits in the tanks for a good 2 months.
Yeah.
So and everybody understands this is not. How can I say? This is no return on investment.
Right.
It sits there.
It's not
You can't
making
do
any money
anything.
while it
It's
sits there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but that's okay, and that's the fun. That's the wonderful. We do ales.
All right, so wait a minute. You do ales?
Yes.
Wait a minute. There was we had a beer. In September we had a beer festival here in Key West, and should I spill the beans or Dave? I think you should spill the beans.
I'm really not sure what you're talking about.
Oh, we had
Dave,
something
you
magic.
know what I'm talking about. There was that one special bottle.
We had we really had something magical.
Yes, we did.
The
remember?
Steigl unicorn, if you will.
Yeah, the unicorn of Steigl.
Oh,
Oh, you had the Sun King, Sonnenkönig?
Yes, we had the Sun
Yeah.
King.
No
Sun
way.
King.
You had it.
Yeah. We had a taste
Yes.
of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
The Sonnenkönig?
Yeah.
Roger brought it down.
Roger
Yeah.
brought it down,
Hey.
and he held it for
He
us.
had a little bottle,
and,
and he had it set
he had a
aside.
I'm gonna get, it was
Sun
a
King.
like a wine bottle.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, champagne bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And he gave it to us,
fabulous.
Wow.
and
Fabulous.
it was
Did you like it?
Oh,
yes.
no, I didn't like it. I was like, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was
it's
it was a
very good.
masterpiece.
Yeah,
it was
that's
one
it.
of these beers that was a masterpiece. And if you don't bring it back to the United States, if you don't agree tonight,
gone.
If you don't agree to
gone.
brew,
No bottles left.
here, hold
It's
on.
all gone.
If you don't agree to bring it to brew it again and bring it back, we're gonna stick you in the bathroom here and never let you out.
Okay. Well, I make you another offer. Okay.
Counter offer.
I'm ready.
Counteroffer,
I'm a
yeah.
salesperson. I'm a
Well,
negotiator.
What we are doing now, I mean, we have obviously our standard beers.
Yeah.
Well, with our bread and butter business.
Sure.
And we have a little craft brewery back home where we do things that are not necessarily always according to the purity law, because we think
Yeah.
you have to experiment, right?
Sure, yeah.
What we are doing now is, and I'm just saying that, I mean, the importer is going to kill me, the distributor is going to kill me.
Let them kill you.
Well, that's fine.
We're holding you hostage right now.
Okay, good.
And we're going to kill
We're
you
gonna do
if
an
they
Austrian, We're going to do an Austrian pale ale. It's not an
Really?
Indian pale ale.
All right.
Well, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send you a couple samples.
Yeah.
It's not available, and don't tell the guys out there, the importers.
No, no,
Oh, no.
Okay,
We're not
it's
going to tell
between the
anybody.
4 or 5 of us,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, awesome.
I promise I'm going to send you some samples
Fantastic.
down
All
there.
right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And make sure when you get it and you drink it, have one on me, okay?
Well, you know what we will do